Heyo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of IoT Nuggets, and I'm on natural today, no hat.
It's a scary thought there, Doug.
Very scary. I'm told that I've got a lot of shine going on, but
yeah, where's your makeup artist?
I borrowed him first.
You can't dull my shine, Steve.
Yeah, and what does the non-bald guy in the middle? What do I get called?
You really want to?
Not
often. We'll come up with something. Maybe our special guest Stefan can come up with something, because he's joining us today. Stefan Galloro from TechInsights. He is the sales director and automotive lead for TechInsights, and of course Steve Brummer, my illustrious co-host in the middle.
Yay! The only applause I get.
Traveling man, spreading the word of IoT around the world, virtually and in person. And just a little housekeeping. Everybody remember bhiotgroup.com up there in the corner. That's the website for BHIoT Group. If you want to start a conversation with Steve and John Hubler and the team over there about your IoT strategy, deployment, how to bring it to market. And also be sure to connect on LinkedIn and YouTube, because that's where all the rest of the nuggets are, and which leads us today's nugget. Stefan Galloro is here from TechInsights, as I said. TechInsights.com is the website. And we're going to talk a little bit about what TechInsights does, connected car, the chip shortage, all of these topics that are impacting what's going on in that piece of the IoT space. So take it away, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks very much, Doug. Stefan, thank you so much for joining us. You know, we love bringing new guests on and talking about crazy topics like connected cars. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
so,
welcome.
For the audience that doesn't know a lot about TechInsights, tell us a little bit about the company and what you guys are doing as it relates to IoT.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I mean, we do a lot of things on the technology front, but in a nutshell, the best way to describe what TechInsights does is we reverse engineer advanced technology products associated, in this particular case, to automotive. We have been around for the better part of 30 years, really grew up around semiconductor, and that's still the majority of our focus. And as that gets more and more prevalent in cars and the connected car and everything else, you know, we're playing a more and more integral role with these large automakers, some of the tier 1 suppliers, and as well as the technology integrators as we go through it. So that's really what we do. And it's up to us really to evangelize, very similar to the mission that you're on right now, Steve, is to evangelize what TechInsights does, how we can support customers, not only in their strategic planning and competitive intelligence, but how we can help guide them in the future.
So connected car is definitely hot. And when you look at the carriers that are playing in it as well, and all the ecosystem, but we do have this damn shortage of chips. And, you know, we've heard GM shutting down their manufacturing facilities. We've heard Tesla issues that are going on, and in the international market. Tell us how the chip shortages are really affecting the connected car industry from your point of view. And, you know, when do you see that changing? Are we really waiting till next year sometime?
Yeah, you know, it's such an interesting dynamic. I mean, you know, first things first, I think the chip shortage plays a lot of a role around manufacturing. We understand this, and now we're starting to see the downstream implications of it, where, you know, people are actually shutting down for a week and a couple of weeks here, and that's just not systemic, just the GM, but that's Ford, that's everybody. And as far as the connected car goes, you know, we often think of IoT as the last tactical mile that really connects the car to the internet, quote unquote. Where we sit and where our semiconductor company clients sit is really on the front end of that development cycle. So without the semiconductor, nothing really happens. So we get the broader implications of the entire complex supply chain, which is automotive, and it's really effectively, you know, putting a hamper on a lot of the connected car development outside of the software-defined parameters that they can actually go ahead with. It's really impacting just about everything. And, you know, the part two to your question was, you know, where do we anticipate seeing a little bit of ease of supply chain pressure as it relates to connected car and the chip shortage? Well, you know, a lot of automakers are saying, you know, we're at least another year and a half out
Wow.
we're seeing a very similar trend, right? So I think on balance, 2023 might be a little bit more normal, but I think the automakers, the way it looks anyways, is I think they've seen some vulnerabilities in their supply chain with the semiconductors and are now maybe advancing their development in their own. So I think there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff to come, especially with connected car and IoT as a whole.
And there's no alternatives. I mean, it's nothing. So we have no choice but to either and pay more, right? I mean, we're going to see pricing trends going upwards.
Yeah, well, two things happen, right? I think what people fail to realize in a lot of cases, if you're not really in it, is that you just can't spin up a semiconductor factory and really pump out these chips. It just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of complexities, not just in the development and the manufacturing, but also people, people power, so to speak, and everything else. So it's a very, very difficult issue just to address short term. So to answer your question about price, yeah, there's cost pressures that are coming down on the supply chain, and eventually leads, if this doesn't straighten out in the next 12, 18 months, the consumer ends up picking up the tab for it.
With the explosive EV markets that we're in, forget the delays, but just the whole concept around the EV. How is that influencing the connected car and the general trends within your space?
So the EV, in my opinion, I think EVs are probably the most exciting place to be when we talk about marrying up connected car and the broader IoT ecosystem. And I'll explain why. A lot of people had put a lot of effort around developing edge computing and things like that. But I think now what they're looking to marry up is the EV as a power source to the edge to the connected car. So you think about EVs now being an integral part of the development of edge computing, not just on the cellular side or the Wi-Fi side, but we're also talking about potentially on the utility side of things. So you don't necessarily have to be strapped for power anymore, which was ultimately a very, very big concern over time. And we saw that going back even a decade, where battery consumption was a very big thing, even when you were sort of defining and developing applications. But now the EV platforms are really going to be truly that ubiquitous thing that touches everything, and that's exciting.
So this is the part where I get to ask another question that we didn't prep on, because I was thinking about this morning. Sure. And I know that you're going to have a really solid answer for everybody, but there's always been this question about who owns the data in a connected car. And especially with all the information coming out of the IoT sensors and the connectivity part and the 5G enabled car and everything else in that. Just give us your thoughts on who owns the data. If I buy a car, do I own the data? If I lease a car, do I not own the data? Tell me what you're thinking and where that's headed.
Yeah. So, great question.
Sorry, I had to throw it in there at the end.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one because I have a telecom background, so I get it on both sides, right? The interesting thing is, I think there has to be better rules around the governance of the data, but I don't think sort of one size fits all. I think there has to be an element of data segmentation that has to occur over time. Now, if you think about the traditional T's and C's of the operation of a web browser, right? You're agreeing to the T's and C's of Google Chrome. So I think that's a thing, right? So any kind of private browsing that may happen within a connected car should sit with the consumer. Now, the telemetry data coming off an OBD2 port or anything related to the overall well-being of said automobile should sit proactively with the automaker, right? And all the ancillary pass-through data, whether it's secure, unsecure, that's really on the onus of the last tactical miles. In 99% of the cases, it's the carrier. So I think we have to make better rules around data segmentation to make it more, I guess, a better experience for everybody. The automakers can benefit, improving the product over time with some proactive outreach and predictive analytics that come out of the telemetry data. And then the end users, the consumers, can be better protected with what they consume within the vehicle as well. So I think there's really three facets to that.
Excellent. Sorry, I had to do it. So
no, it's good. I enjoyed it. I like that stuff. I haven't been able to talk a little telco in a little while, so that's good.
Good. All right. Well, Stefan, again, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you and talking about a subject like this that's really important to everybody. So thank you. Doug, back to you, bud.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And I enjoyed that little breakdown at the end of the components of who owns the data. I think that's pretty.
I have the power, damn it.
Right. No, that was really good. I appreciate all the insights, Stefan. I think you guys are doing some great things at TechInsights, and we appreciate you joining us and everybody for tuning in. Thanks for joining us for this episode of IoT Nuggets with IoT Group. Make sure to visit bhiotgroup.com, as well as connect with us on LinkedIn and YouTube, as we said, and reach out to Steve and John Hubler and the rest of the team over there to talk about your IoT deployment. And we will see you next time on IoT Nuggets. Thanks, everybody.
Have a wonderful day, everybody.
You too.
You too.